The various lessons I have learnt concerning technology from the process of constructing this product are as follows. For the development of my front cover, I first had to resize the file to fit A4. Before beginning this project, I had no idea how to do so, but learnt how to quickly after starting it. I then had to add my image to the background, which concerned the process of learning how to add layers to the Photoshop document. I then had to edit my image, which included high-passing it, cropping it, changing the brightness and contrast levels, the colour balance levels, the basic levels of the image, the photographic filters, and using tools such as the Healing Brush tool and Quick Select tool. I learnt how to use these in order to make my Photoshop file look as realistic as possible. I then had to learn how to add text and adjust it to create all the features shown on the cover. One particular challenge I ran into was managing to put the head of my model in front of the masthead of my cover. I had to spot heal any excess hair around my model's head, then make multiple layers with the quick selection tool of the same section I needed to be in front of the masthead. I then had to place these layers over the top of the text layer to achieve a more professionally finished appearance. I then added my pre-edited barcode, and after that went on to add shapes and adjust them to give my cover the most realistic looking layout as possible. After this, I then went on to begin the construction of my contents page. I first had to resize the document in exactly the same way as I had my front cover, before adding the basic lines and shapes to the layout, along with my images. I used the same technique of adding these as I did to add my image and shapes for the front cover. After this, I then added the basic text and headlines to my page, to again increase the verisimilitude of the whole contents page, and use as many of the tools and lessons I had learned about using Photoshop as possible before moving on to my double page spread. Finally, I also had to learn how to use a package called InDesign to create my double page spread. To begin with, I had to set up 3 A4 pages to make one double page spread. I learnt how to do this by exploring all the package had to offer until I had garnered the required outcome. After this, I then went on to learn how to add the background image to my article, an image which had also been edited in the same way as every other image from my shoot with the same model. I then had to learn how to fit the photograph to the frame on the package. Again, I learnt how to do this by exploring all that the package had to offer until I found the right setting. After I had done this, I then created the basic shapes and layout form that I would use for the article. After I had done this, I then also learnt how to add text and smaller shapes to the design, along with a number of smaller images, in order to develop my skills on InDesign. The things I learnt about photography from my undertaking of this project are as follows. I learnt how to frame a model correctly and how to take different types of shots, such as long shots, mid shots and close-up shots, to best fit the needs of my publication. I also learnt how to position my model to best fit the requirements of the genre and the codes and conventions of music magazines in general. One example of this would be the way in which I subtly manipulated my model's body language to make her appear more open and friendly, especially in the way that I ensured she had eye contact with the camera on the shot used for the front cover. I also had to ensure that each and every shot I had taken looked professionally finished in the way that it was lit, angled, and the subject that I had used looked right. Without learning these key things, I do not think that my overall outcomes from the construction of Pulse would have seemed anywhere near as realistic.